name is Jason Fisher, and I'm helping the Central Southern Illinois Synod with their Gifted for Ministry project. It was something where I wanted to go back to school to get more understanding of Lutheran history and Lutheran theology. I went to a Free Methodist college and learned a lot about the Wesleyan tradition, but decided when I got out of college I was going to be a full-time youth director. I wanted to call the ELCA the home team, and so I needed to go back and get some more education. So I went to become an associate in ministry and studied, went through candidacy, went to Wartburg and took some classes online and a couple of other different schools. And as I was going through the process, we realized that I was probably more called to diaconal ministry than associate in ministry because of my passion for teaching and service. So I don't want to say I fell into being a deacon. I think deep down in my heart, I've always been passionate about teaching and serving. And so I think I've been a deacon at my core. I just didn't have language for it until I went through candidacy. So again, I don't know that I ever felt called to be a deacon. I don't know that it's still pretty new within the Lutheran tradition, at least within the ELCA, to have deacons the way we understand them now. So word and service ministry versus word and sacrament ministry. I didn't know that deacons even existed until I went through candidacy, and that there was these opportunities to serve the church in unordained positions, either in music or teaching or nursing or youth ministry. And so I knew that I always wanted to serve as a youth minister and felt called to teaching in that role and connecting the church and youth to opportunities to serve Christ in the community. And so I think there's always been that heart for service that's been a part of my call. So the first time I realized church was important to me was when I got to take First Communion. I had gone through confirmation classes, and we had a large confirmation class, and we were all lined up the following Sunday after we'd been confirmed for our First Communion. And we were kneeling at the altar rail, and the communion assistant came by and gave us all bread. And then the pastor came by to give us the wine and placed his hand on my head and gave me the blessing that he gives to the little children. And I probably went back to my seat and just started crying, thinking I did something wrong, I'm going to hell, I messed up, I didn't do something right. And eventually the pastor's wife was sitting in the pew next to us and noticed something was wrong, and we were able to talk to pastor about it after the service. And he was able to give me the wine, but explain to me, that I still was able to partake in communion and that I hadn't done anything wrong. But I knew right then, I was like, okay, there's something important here that I want to do. I want to do everything right, and I needed to learn more about God's grace within the Lutheran tradition. So I don't know that I can remember a time when I wasn't involved with the church. We started coming to Good Shepherd Lutheran Church when I was like 7 years old. So growing up baptized with my brother, my sister, my mom, all on the same day was kind of our entry into church life. And then, Sunday school classes, choir, youth choir, confirmation classes. Church is always, serving Christ has always been a part of my faith journey, and walking alongside other members of this congregation who have modeled the faith for me for decades now and continue to do so. And so I don't know that I can think of a time where I wasn't in some capacity serving the church. There was definitely a point where I thought that my calling was to be a firefighter like my dad. I was ready to save some lives and go into firefighting, but it wasn't until high school that I started to see that I was more interested in firefighting just to be able to hang out with my dad, and that I really liked the schedule of firefighting. I could work 24 hours, have 48 hours off, and I thought, oh, that'll be cool. I'll have a couple days I can volunteer at the church and help out the church. And the more I wrestled with that, the more I realized, okay, I'm gonna do something I kind of want to do full-time in order to do what I really want to do part-time. And that's when God started messing with me to kind of call me into youth ministry. I get to know a lot of the kids in my high school, my senior year, that I hadn't hung out with for those 3 or 4 years in high school, and started to realize they had a lot of issues, a lot of problems, a lot of stuff going on that they had nobody to talk to. And I thought, man, there needs to be somebody, an adult, who can be there to just listen to what's going on in their life and respond to the things that are going on. And I realized I could be that person. I could be called to do that. Maybe that's the ministry need God is calling me to. What I love about being a deacon is the opportunity to be that bridge between the church and the community. I love getting folks from our congregation involved in activities and service projects in the community, getting them to know people outside of their circles, meet people they might never normally meet. And then I also love interacting and serving in the community in such a way that I interact and meet people who have never graced the door of a church or might have a lot of preconceived notions about what it means to be a Christian. And so I get to talk to them and say, hey, you should really meet this group of folks that I know at Good Shepherd. They're fantastic. So I like being that bridge of connecting both the church with the community and the community with a worshiping body of faithful believers and seeing what happens. I like mixing groups of people that might not normally hang out together and seeing what the Holy Spirit does with that. I'm most proud of seeing some of the young people that I've had the pleasure of journeying alongside grow in their faith and mature and still keep those conversations going. There's youth that have been in a youth group with me that are now married and having kids, and we're still able to have those faith conversations. And I love that the discipleship never ends. It's not something that after high school, okay, good luck with Jesus and everything. It's that relationship with Christ and with each other and the body of believers continues, and we get to journey lifelong with each other. So I don't know if that's something I'm proud of. I haven't really done anything that's all God's work, but I'm thankful that I get to be a part of that journey. I think the thing that I'm hopeful for is that the church can find ways to let young people and adults know of the variety of ways that we can serve the church in ministry. There's a variety of ways that deacons can serve the church that I didn't know about until I was going through the process in candidacy. And I think there's a lot of people that are called to various vocations but don't understand or see those things as ministry when they really are. And I'm just hopeful the church can step up and keep promoting our diaconal ministries, and because I think it feeds into people's callings to become ordained pastors as well. When a lot of people get involved in diaconal ministry, they might sense a call towards word and sacrament ministry as well. But I feel like it's a really good starting place to get people plugged into and seeing the value of the ministry that they're already doing.